Enzo rubs his forehead as he struggled with his vision. His sight was blurry. He felt a pang of pain across his skull, and rightly so. He was just knocked out. Some minutes ago, Enzo rubbed his eyes with both of his hands. He noticed he was in a huge office, one filled with expensive paintings and artwork. He looked around in awe. Is this heaven? Am I dead? His focus traveling around the room. They say a good painting can touch a man's soul, a voice said, startling Enzo. He turned around to see who it was. He saw a middle-aged man sitting on an office chair. Forgive me, amigo. I'm Carlos, he said with a cold voice, bringing out a pack of cigars from his drawer. Do you smoke? Carlos asked, but Enzo shook his head. Sir, I just want to go home, please, Enzo said, his voice shaking. Oh, you see, my friend, you are not going home anytime soon. This is your home now. Carlos chuckled. What? What did I do? Did I do anything wrong? I have returned the necklace. Please let me go. Enzo's voice breaks. I would like to know a lot of things about you. You seem like an interesting young man. Carlos replied, lighting up his cigarettes. The door to the office opens, and Miguel walks in with a file. You're quite the con artist. You're a man of many talents, theft and smuggling of various illegal substances, and yet you don't have even a speeding ticket, Carlos muttered while glancing at the file. That's because I've never been busted on a job. Enzo clears his throat. Yes, until you decided to steal my daughter's $3.5 million necklace given to her by my late wife, Carlos said with fury growing in his eyes. How did you get into this mansion without anybody spotting you? Carlos sipped his whiskey. I scaled the fence. The east point of the building was poorly guarded. Enzo's voice barely above a whisper. Meet Miguel. He was the head of security for this building. Carlos pointed towards Miguel, who stood across the table. Enzo's eyebrows raised. The confusion on his face was evident. Does that mean he is no longer head of security? Enzo murmured. Before he could finish his sentence, Carlos pulled out a Glock and shot Miguel straight at his forehead. Miguel's dead body slumps to the floor, creating a pool of blood. Yes, he is in single quotes T. You are now. Carlos uses a small towel to clean his Glock and places it on the table. Enzo is shocked. He just witnessed someone die before him. His heart was racing. His hands trembled, but he tried to remain calm. Miguel did. 20 years of military service, but could not stop a teenager from invading us. Such an asshole. I have zero tolerance for failure. You must always deliver results. Do you understand me? Carlos ordered, his voice to send a wave of dominance across the room. Enzo nodded his head slowly, his fingers fidgeting. And if you ever think of running away, always remember, I will look for you, I will find you, and I will give you the most painful death you can ever imagine, Carlos declared with a hint of madness in his eyes. The alarms go off. Heavy sirens buzzing the building. Panic creeps in. Red siren lights traveling across the room. Boss, we are under attack. The blacksmiths are here. I don't think we can hold them off. We need to plan an evacuation as soon as possible, the guard said, breathing heavily. Sounds of heavy gunfire were heard in the background. Go get Antonella immediately. Carlos moves swiftly, ordering his guards to get his daughter. Carlos approaches a blank wall and places his right hand on it. It scans his hand, and a secret wardrobe opens. It was stacked with various types of guns. Carlos grabs an assault rifle and tosses one to Enzo. Don't hesitate to shoot. That's how you stay alive, Carlos commanded before leaving the room, with some guards escorting him alongside Antonella. Damn, this shit is way too heavy. I might pull a muscle injury if I carry it for a second longer. Enzo drops the gun on the floor. A masked man enters the room and spots Enzo. He didn't hesitate to shoot at Enzo, as he aimlessly sprayed a lot of bullets towards him, but Enzo had managed to take cover. You have to be kidding me. I'm getting shot at twice in the same day. These people really want me dead. He breathed. Still breathing heavily, Enzo tried to steady his breath. He scanned the area for a possible escape route, and he saw an open window. He sneered. The masked man was still inspecting the office, hoping to find Enzo's dead body lying somewhere. Some of his colleagues had joined him in the office. He strategically ordered me to look for Enzo. Unfortunately, none of them could find Enzo. The masked man picked up Enzo's file that was still on the table, and after going through it, Carlos is so desperate. He is hiring petty thieves and amateurs mercenary now. He scoffed, and his men laughed even louder. He dropped the file. Suddenly a heavy explosion occurred in the office, taking out all 15 men inside. Not bad for an amateur mercenary. A wicked smile graced Enzo's lips. He watched the explosion from a distance. He picked up a pistol and proceeded to the stairs, his eyes traveling around the area with caution. The explosion tipped the scales against the blacksmiths. Their finest men had been taken out, and they began to retreat. Most men rushed into a long truck in an attempt to escape. Enzo had laid his hands on one of the most sophisticated snipers in the building. It was tagged as a ghost jet. It looked fancy. Mr. Ghost Jet, you seem like a man for the job. You were hired. Enzo has always been a fan of limited edition guns. He picks up Ghost Jet and heads for the nearest window. He sights the intruders struggling to escape. He aims for the driver and shoots. The accuracy deadly. The bullet went right through the forehead of the driver. The truck crashed, and anyone who tried to come out of the truck and escape met an unfortunate end as Enzo would shoot them down with his sniper. At the end, 22 bodies laid lifelessly on the floor, courtesy of Enzo and his sniper. When the coast was clear, Carlos and some senior guards came out just to see a lot of bodies dead and Enzo sitting with a Ghost Jet on his lap while pouring himself a glass of wine. They called me an amateur mercenary. Look who is drinking over their lifeless bodies, Enzo said, taking another sip of his wine. I knew You had it in you. You and I would bring the blacksmiths to their knees, Carlos declared with a stoic expression, extending his hand for a handshake, which Enzo took after some moments of hesitation.